My whole belief was that trust is the foundation of marriage. Mine broke that night. I caught my wife laughing on the phone with someone who wasn't me. What happened after that? A stranger stood at our front door and spoke those three perfect words to my unfaithful wife. Who are you? Revenge doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's neat, cold, and utterly ruinous. My name is Preston Clark. I'm 48, and I work as a supply chain analyst at a mid-sized logistics firm in Memphis, Tennessee. It isn't glamorous, but it covered the bills. Or at least it used to, until the company cut staff last year. I accepted a pay cut to keep my job while younger colleagues with fresher degrees passed me by. That hurt, but I swallowed it. Rita, my wife of 2 decades, didn't make a fuss, though I saw disappointment flash across her face when I told her about the lower pay. Rita is 43 and works in corporate events. She's excellent at it. Really excellent. She always looks polished, put together, and constantly networking. I used to beam with pride about her to my coworkers. Now I wonder if I was too blind to notice what was happening in front of me. We have a son, Dylan. He just turned 18 last month and is a senior at Germantown High. Good kid, quiet, keeps to himself, plays guitar, and plans to study music production at college. Rita always said he inherited the artistic side from her family, like I offered nothing but a dependable paycheck. It began 3 weeks ago on a Thursday evening. I came home early because half the office was sent home for server maintenance. Rita didn't expect me. Entering our brick ranch on Papa Ridge Drive, I heard her voice from the bedroom above. She was laughing. That light, flirtatious laugh I hadn't heard in years. Not aimed at me. I stood at the base of the stairs, grocery bag still in my hand, and listened. I can't wait either, Rita murmured, warm and soft. Next week feels like forever. There was a beat. She was on the phone. Stop it. You're awful, she said, giggling. Dylan's at practice, and Preston won't be home for another 2 hours. I know. I'll think about it. My stomach dropped. I set the bags down quietly, went back outside, sat in my truck, and circled the block twice before returning as if I'd just pulled in. The second time I entered, Rita was in the kitchen humming, acting like nothing was wrong. Hey, babe, she said without glancing up. You're home early. Server issues. I answered, watching her expression for any hint of guilt. Nothing, only a distracted nod. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay beside her in the dark, listening to her breathing and wondering who she'd been speaking with, what next week meant, whether I was deluding myself or finally seeing clearly. Over the next days, I started to pay close attention, the kind of watching you don't want to do, because once you begin, you can't unsee things. Rita's habits became clear. She checked her phone constantly, but always held it away from me. She left rooms to take calls, claiming they were work-related, yet her voice dropped to that same warm, flirty tone I'd heard that Thursday. On Monday morning, I told her I had an early client meeting downtown. I actually didn't. Instead, I sat in my truck across from our house and watched. At 8:15, Rita emerged in a navy dress I'd never seen, heels clicking on the driveway, hair and makeup done like she had somewhere important to be. She drove her white Lexus toward downtown Memphis, and I tailed her from 3 cars back, like some bad cop drama. She didn't head to her Union Avenue office. She pulled into the Riverbend Cafe parking lot by the Wolf River. I parked a little way off and watched through my mirror. 5 minutes later, a silver BMW slipped in beside her. A man stepped out, tall, fit, mid-40s maybe, wearing an expensive suit that screamed money. He walked to Rita's car, opened her door like a gentleman, and they hugged. Not a casual hug, but the kind that lingers, with hands resting on backs. They went into the cafe together, and I gripped the wheel until my knuckles whitened. Part of me wanted to burst in and cause a scene. The other, smarter part knew I needed more, solid proof that would hold up if things went legal. I didn't enter the cafe. I took photos on my phone, recorded the BMW's plate, and drove to work 2 hours late. My boss, Jerry Reynolds, gave me a look but said nothing. Jerry's been divorced twice. He probably understood the look on my face. That evening I acted normal at home. Rita warmed leftover lasagna and chatted about a client event she had planned for next month. I nodded, asked the right questions, and pretended everything was fine. Dylan's staying late for band practice, she said while stirring sauce. He won't be back until 7. Good, kid's committed, I said. Rita smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. He gets that from me, she added. I almost laughed. Dylan learned his work ethic from watching me drag myself to a job I hated just to put food on the table, but I didn't argue. Not worth it anymore. After dinner, I went down to the basement, opened my laptop, and ran the BMW's license plate through a database I could access from work. Logistics companies often use these systems to track their vehicles, but they work on personal cars as well. The name that popped up was Kurt Stone, 44 years old, listed at Stone & Associates Marketing in downtown Memphis. I looked up the company website. Kurt Stone was the founder and CEO. His biography boasted 15 years in brand development, awards, and a vision for innovative marketing strategies. There was a photo of him smiling in that same expensive suit, looking like someone who had never once faced a pay cut. I stared at his face until my eyes burned. This was the man my wife met in secret. This was the man she laughed with on the phone while I worked to support our family. I closed my laptop and went upstairs. Rita was already in bed, scrolling through her phone. I stood in the doorway, watching, and for the first time in 20 years, I saw a stranger. I didn't confront her, not yet. I had seen enough men at work ruin their lives by acting on impulse. They storm in, make accusations, and end up with nothing but a messy divorce. I wouldn't be that man. Instead, I hired a private investigator. I found Dale Hutchins online, checked his background to confirm he was legitimate. His office was in a strip mall off Germantown Parkway, between a nail salon and a tax service. Not glamorous, but he came highly recommended. I met Dale on a Thursday afternoon. He was in his 60s, a former police detective, gray hair buzzed short, handshake like a vice. The kind of man who had seen it all twice and wasn't impressed easily. "Mr. Clark," he said, gesturing to a chair across from his cluttered desk. "You said you need surveillance?" "My wife," I said, sliding a photo of Rita across. "I think she's having an affair. I need proof." Dale studied the photo, then set it down. "How long have you suspected?" "About a week, maybe longer," I admitted. "You want photos, timestamps, the whole package?" I nodded. "Everything that'll hold up in court." Dale quoted a price that made me wince, but I wrote the check anyway. Money I had saved from side consulting work, money Rita didn't know about. "I'll start Monday," Dale said. "Give me 2 weeks. If there's something to find, I'll find it." That weekend, Rita mentioned a business trip to Charleston, South Carolina. 3 days, planning a corporate event. She'd leave Wednesday morning and return Friday night. "Sounds exhausting," I said, keeping calm. "It is," Rita replied without looking up, "but the client pays well." Dylan was in the kitchen, making a sandwich. He glanced at his mother, then me, and I saw something, recognition, maybe, like he knew something was off but didn't speak up. "You okay with me being gone a few days?" Rita asked him. Dylan shrugged. "Yeah, whatever, Dad. I'll manage." Rita smiled, kissed him, and went upstairs. Dylan looked at me for a moment, but just grabbed his sandwich and headed to his room. Monday came, and Dale began surveillance. I worked as normal, pretending everything was fine. Tuesday evening, Dale called. "Got something you need to see," he said, flatly. "Can you meet tomorrow morning?" "What is it?" I asked. "Better if I show you in person." Wednesday, I met him at a Waffle House off I-40. He handed me a manila envelope across the table. Inside were dozens of photos. Rita and Kurt Stone at Riverbend Cafe, at a hotel parking lot near the airport, walking into a hotel room with his hand on her lower back. Every photo was time-stamped, crystal clear. No ambiguity. No excuses. "I checked the hotel records," Dale said quietly. "The room is registered in his name. They were there for 3 hours yesterday afternoon." I stared at the images, feeling a cold clarity settle in my chest. Not anger yet, just understanding. My marriage was over, and I needed to protect myself. "I need more," I said. "Everything." Dale nodded. "I'll keep working. You'll have it." By Friday, he had given me everything. Photos, timestamp logs, even a copy of the hotel receipt. Rita and Kurt Stone had been meeting regularly for at least 2 months, maybe longer. The evidence was airtight. But before I could decide my next step, life threw another curveball. I'd been getting headaches for weeks. Sharp, stabbing pains developed behind my right eye. They wouldn't go away no matter how much ibuprofen I took. I assumed it was stress. Finding out your wife is cheating will do that. But when my vision blurred during a work meeting, my boss, Jerry, pulled me aside. "Preston, you look terrible," he said bluntly. "Go see a doctor." "That's not a suggestion." I made an appointment with Dr. Kenneth Brennan, my primary care physician. He ran some tests, ordered an MRI, and called me back 3 days later with news that made the infidelity feel almost trivial. Preston, Dr. Brennan said carefully, the MRI shows a small mass. It's there. We need more tests, but I'm referring you to an oncologist. The word hung in the air like a sentence. Oncologist? Cancer? How serious? I asked. We don't know yet. Could be benign, could require aggressive treatment. But we caught it early, which is good. I left the office in a daze, sitting in my truck for 20 minutes staring at nothing. My wife was cheating, and now I might have cancer. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. I didn't tell Rita. Why bother? She was too busy planning her next secret rendezvous with Kurt Stone. That night, after she went to bed, I told Dylan. He was in his room, softly strumming his guitar. I knocked, and he looked up. Hey, Dad, what's up? I sat on the edge of his bed. I need to tell you something, and you have to keep it just between us for now. Dylan set the guitar down, his expression serious. What's wrong? I explained. I went to the doctor this week. They found a mass in my head. More tests are coming, but it might be cancer. His face went pale. Dad, are you serious? Yes, I said, but we caught it early. I'm going to fight it, and I need you to stay strong. Dylan nodded slowly, hands trembling. Does Mom know? No, and I don't want to tell her yet. Why not? I looked at my son, this young man whose world was about to be shaken, and decided he deserved the truth. Because your mother has been lying to us, Dylan, and I can't trust her with this right now. He stared at me, understanding dawning. He wasn't a kid anymore. He had sensed something was broken in our house long before I confirmed it. A week later, things shifted at home. Dylan became quieter, withdrawn. He stopped talking to Rita at dinner, gave one-word answers. Rita noticed, but didn't care. She was too distracted by her phone, by whatever Kurt Stone was texting her. One night, Rita came home late from another supposed client meeting. It was almost 10. Dylan was in the kitchen grabbing a snack when she walked in. Where have you been? He asked sharply. Rita stopped, surprised. Working? I told you I had a client dinner, right? Dylan's tone dripped with disbelief. A client dinner? Her face hardened. Excuse me? What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm not stupid, Mom. None of us are. I had been listening from the living room. I stepped into the kitchen doorway. Rita saw me, her expression defensive. Preston, are you going to let him talk to me like that? She demanded. Let him speak, I said calmly. He has something to say. Dylan's frustration bubbled over. You think we don't notice? You think Dad doesn't notice? Rita went pale. Notice what? That you're never here, always on your phone, that you don't care about us. Dylan, that's not fair, she began, but he cut her off. Do you know what's not fair? Dad's sick. He's actually sick, and you don't even know because you're too busy with whoever you're seeing. Rita froze, eyes darting to me. Preston, what is he talking about? I have a medical condition, I said evenly. The doctors are running tests. I told Dylan because he deserves to know. Her voice sharpened. And you didn't tell me? Why would I? I asked. You've made it clear where your priorities lie. Rita's face twisted between guilt and rage. Then she did something I'll never forget. She looked at Dylan, her own son, and uttered words that shattered whatever remained of our family. You want the truth, Dylan? Yes, I've been seeing someone. Someone who actually appreciates me. Someone who doesn't make me feel like I wasted my life. The kitchen was silent, the quiet almost deafening. Dylan stared at his mother as if she had struck him. His name is Kurt, Rita said, her voice sharp and bitter. And he's a better man than your father will ever be. Dylan's hands clenched into fists. Get out. What? Rita blinked. Get out of this house, he repeated, voice trembling. You don't get to talk about Dad like that. Not after everything he's done for us. Rita looked at me, expecting me to intervene, but I just stood there, arms crossed, letting her realize the damage she had done. Fine, Rita said finally, grabbing her purse and keys. I'll stay at a hotel, but we're going to discuss this, Preston. No, I said quietly. We're not. You just said everything that needed saying. She left, the door slamming behind her. Dylan stood in the kitchen, breathing hard, tears streaming down his face. I put a hand on his shoulder. You okay? I asked. No, he admitted, but I will be. The next morning, I woke with clarity. Rita had revealed her true self, and it was time to protect what was mine. I called my attorney, Benjamin Garrett, a family law specialist Dale had recommended. His office was in East Memphis, and I met him that afternoon. Benjamin, in his early 50s, wearing a gray suit, listened without interruption, taking notes. When I finished, he leaned back. "You've got a strong case," he said. "The evidence Dale collected is solid. That she admitted the affair to your son in front of you strengthens it even more, but we need to act quickly." "What do you recommend?" I asked. "First, file for divorce immediately. North Carolina allows alienation of affection lawsuits, so we'll file against Kurt Stone too. Second, secure your assets." "What about the house?" "It's in both our names. We bought it 12 years ago." Benjamin nodded. "We'll address that. And bank accounts? We have a joint checking and savings, plus a separate consulting account Rita doesn't know about. Move your money out of the joint accounts today. Open a new account in your name only. Document every transaction. We don't want her claiming assets or draining accounts in spite." I left Benjamin's office and went straight to First Horizon Bank on Poplar Avenue. The banker, Susan Reed, helped me close the joint accounts and transfer my half to a new personal account. Rita's half remained in a separate account she could access, avoiding legal complications. Next, I contacted the mortgage company and property managers. The house was our biggest asset, but Benjamin reminded me Tennessee is an equitable distribution state. Rita would likely get a portion, but I could control how. By week's end, everything was in place. Bank accounts separated, mortgage secured, divorce papers ready. Benjamin advised waiting until Rita's parents learned of the affair. It might give us leverage. Rita's parents, Richard and Barbara Gaines, were old-school conservatives from Jackson, Tennessee. They never liked me much, thinking I wasn't successful enough. But they valued family, reputation, and morality. When they found out about Rita cheating, especially with my medical diagnosis looming, they'd be furious. I didn't have to wait long. Dylan called his grandmother and told her everything. 24 hours later, Barbara Gaines arrived at our house like a storm, driving her silver Cadillac, marching to the front door without knocking. I was in the living room, Dylan right behind her. "Where is she?" Barbara demanded, voice icy. "She's been staying at a hotel," I said, standing. Barbara's face tightened with fury. "Dylan told me everything. Is it true? Is Rita having an affair?" "Yes, ma'am. I have proof if you want to see it." She shook her head. "I don't need to see anything. I raised my daughter better than this. And to do it while you're dealing with a medical condition? That's unforgivable." I always thought Barbara looked down on me. But standing there in my living room, she regarded me with near respect. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I'm filing for divorce. My attorney has prepared the papers." "Good. And know this, Preston, Richard and I won't support Rita. We'll testify for you if needed. What she's done is wrong, and she must face consequences." I was shocked. "Mrs. Gaines, you don't have to do that." "Yes, I do. She's my daughter, and I love her, but I won't stand by while she destroys this family. Dylan deserves better. You deserve better." Barbara left soon after, promising to call Rita and make her opinion clear. I sat back on the couch with Dylan beside me. "Grandma's serious," he said. "Yes, she is," I replied. "Think it'll make a difference?" "Maybe, but it doesn't change what I have to do." That evening, Rita called. I let the phone ring 4 times before picking up. "Preston, we need to talk," Rita said, her voice tense and defensive. "I'm listening," I replied, keeping my tone neutral. "My mother called me. She's furious. Said she'll cut me out of her will if I don't end things with Kurt and fix our marriage." "And what did you tell her?" I asked. There was a long pause. "I told her I'm not sure I can fix this." "Then don't," I said flatly. "I've already filed for divorce. You'll be served this week." "Preston, wait. Can we at least try counseling or something?" she asked. "Why?" I snapped inwardly. "So you can lie to a therapist like you've been lying to me? You never meant for this to happen?" She said, voice breaking. "Kurt and we just connected. You've been distant, focused on work and your health issues. You felt alone?" I laughed bitterly. "I've been fighting to keep this family together while you've been sneaking around with another man. Don't talk to me about feeling alone. Preston, please." The divorce papers would include a lawsuit against Kurt Stone for alienation of affection. My attorney said we had a strong case. "You and Kurt destroyed this marriage, and you'll both pay for it," I said, then hung up before she could respond. My hands shook, not from anger, but from the relief of finally saying what needed to be said. Dylan watched me from across the room. You okay, Dad? Yeah, I said. I'm okay. Rita's supposed business trip to Charleston was scheduled for the next week. She had booked the hotel and arranged time off, but I knew she wasn't going. She was meeting Kurt Stone somewhere, using the trip as cover. I decided to use that time to my advantage. While she was gone, I'd sell the house. It was risky, maybe borderline unethical, but Benjamin assured me it could be done. The house was in both our names, but with the divorce filed and her infidelity documented, a judge would likely side with me, especially if the proceeds were split fairly. Benjamin connected me with Carol Bishop, a no-nonsense real estate agent in her 60s. She listed the house Wednesday, and by Friday, we had 2 offers. I accepted one from a young couple relocating from Nashville. The closing was scheduled for Thursday, right in the middle of Rita's trip. Carol handled everything quietly and professionally. I started packing my belongings, photos of Dylan, my father's tools, books, and records I had collected over the years. Dylan helped silently, the weight of our reality pressing down on us. Where will we live? Dylan asked. I found an apartment in Germantown. 2 bedrooms, close to your school. We'll be fine. What about Mom? She'll figure it out. She's got Kurt, remember? Dylan nodded, silent, processing everything. Tuesday morning, Rita left for Charleston, barely acknowledging me as she kissed Dylan goodbye and drove off in her Lexus. The moment she turned the corner, I called the movers. By Thursday afternoon, the house was empty, furniture gone, walls bare, 20 years erased. The new owners, Stephen and Laura Hendress, were scheduled to move in Friday morning. I received the check for my half and deposited it into my new account immediately. Friday evening, Rita returned. I wasn't there, but Dylan told me later. She arrived and immediately sensed something was wrong. The yard looked different, lights in the wrong places. At the door, she was met by a stranger. Laura Hendress, the new owner. Can I help you? Laura asked, confused. This is my house. Rita exclaimed, voice rising. Who are you? I'm sorry, ma'am. You must have the wrong address. My husband and I just bought this house. We moved in this morning. Rita's face went pale. Finally, she understood what I had done. She pulled out her phone and called me. I answered on the 3rd ring. Preston, what the hell did you do? She screamed. I sold the house, I said calmly. Your half of the proceeds is in an account under your name. The bank details are in the envelope I left with your attorney. You can't just sell our house without telling me. I just did, I said. The divorce papers explain everything. There's also a lawsuit filed against Kurt Stone. My attorney will be in touch. Rita was sobbing now, her voice breaking. Preston, please. We can fix this. No, Rita. We can't. Goodbye. I hung up and turned off my phone. Dylan and I sat in our new apartment, eating pizza on folding chairs because the furniture hadn't arrived yet. He looked at me, and for the first time in weeks, I saw pride in his eyes. You really did it, Dylan said. Yeah, I replied. I really did. The week after Rita found out the house was sold, she panicked. She called constantly, leaving voicemails that ranged from angry to pleading. I ignored them all. My attorney, Benjamin Garrett, advised me to let him handle communication, which I did. Wednesday afternoon, Benjamin called. Preston, Rita's attorney wants to negotiate. She's willing to drop her claim to half the house proceeds if you drop the alienation of affection lawsuit against Kurt Stone. No deal, I said immediately. Are you sure? It could take years and cost a fortune, Benjamin warned. I don't care. Kurt Stone destroyed my marriage. He needs to pay. Benjamin paused, then nodded. All right, I'll tell them we're moving forward. 2 days later, Rita showed up at Dylan's school, trying to corner him after band practice to convince me to give her another chance. Dylan called me from the car, and I could hear her crying. Dad, she's losing it, he said quietly. She keeps saying she made a mistake and wants to fix things. Do you want to talk to her? I asked. No, Dylan said. I just want to go home. If she follows you, call the police. He did exactly that. Rita didn't follow, but she called me an hour later, pleading. Preston, I'll do anything. End things with Kurt. Go to therapy. Whatever you want. It's too late, I said. You made your choice when you told our son Kurt was a better man than me. You destroyed this family, not me. She hung up, and I didn't hear from her for days. Then Benjamin called with good news. Kurt Stone's attorney reached out to settle the alienation lawsuit. He offered $75,000. I countered $150,000. Benjamin laughed. The settlement finalized at $120,000. Kurt's reputation suffered, and his clients quietly left. Rita lost her job after her employer discovered the affair. Meanwhile, my medical tests came back. The mass in my head was benign. Relief washed over me, and I told Dylan that night. He cried, hugging me tight. "I thought I was going to lose you," he said. "You're not losing me, son. I'm right here." 8 months later, life found a new rhythm. Dylan graduated with honors and got accepted into Belmont University to study music production. I was proud of him, proud of how he handled everything. The divorce finalized in July. Rita received her half of the house proceeds and nothing else. Our prenup protected most of my retirement savings, and the alienation settlement went entirely to me. Rita moved in with her parents in Jackson, who limited her access to Dylan's inheritance while checking on him regularly. Dylan and I built a new life. We went to concerts, road trips, worked on his truck, and talked about everything: his future, music, and feelings about the divorce. He admitted he'd suspected something was wrong months before I confirmed it. My health improved. Headaches disappeared. Energy returned. I even went on a few casual dates. One September Saturday, we packed Dylan's things for college. Nervous but excited, he turned to me. "Dad, I'm proud of you. You stayed strong and protected us." I felt my throat tighten. "Thanks, Dylan. That means a lot. You're the strongest person I know." We drove to Nashville in comfortable silence. Arriving at his dorm, I realized this chapter was ending. Pain, betrayal, anger, all fading into something manageable. Rita sent one last apologetic email, but I deleted it. I helped Dylan settle into his dorm and said goodbye. Driving back to Memphis, I felt something I hadn't in years: peace. My marriage was over. My health was stable. My son was thriving. That was enough. Life moves forward, ready or not. The trick is learning to move with it.